Good day, everyone. We are the Group 5, and we are here to discuss the current trends and issues in hospitality and tourism. So, we chose globalization and its effect on the tourism development because globalization plays important role in the growth and development of tourism on the world market. The process of globalization has contributed in a political, economic, and cultural sense, has directly affected the intensive growth of tourist travel, increased mobility of people, the development of communication technologies, and the emergence of the internet have contributed to the strengthening of international over domestic tourism. Also, global tourism trends indicate a dominant influence on the process of globalization and its reflection on the tourist business. All this clearly shows that the tourism in the future will have to adapt the phenomena outside its border and this will undoubtedly be the most important and at the same time the most sensitive branch of current and future trends that affect the demand and supply of tourism products and services. The consequences of the globalization in tourism influence the following factors: a limited access to information, the development and constant modernization of the means of transport, free markets, and foreign trade related to them, the expansion of the hotel networks in the international markets, considerable demands of its effect on tourism, because of the development of global trends are further covered. However, globalization is a kind of phenomenon that has contributed to the mutual connection between the countries of the world.
Benefits of globalization in terms of tourism and hospitality. Globalization has created easier and more affordable ways to travel. This means that tourists can now choose from a wide range of destinations, leaving behind developing countries that may not have the infrastructure or technology needed to welcome many visitors, and brought about include increased market for services, facilitated diversification of hotels to different countries, and diffusion of culture. When operating across the boundaries, hotels face some barriers to trade that include political rivalry, cultural differences, and lack of financing. Globalization and tourism are very dependent on each other. Today, thanks to globalization, people from across the world can easily exchange ideas and values, whether they are political, environmental, technological, cultural, or economic settings. Consequently, this exchange has enabled the circulation of massive knowledge among the people of the world. People now understand each other better, regardless of language, religion, or cultural differences, and this has boosted tourism in a huge way. And one of the greatest barriers to the growth of the global tourism industry is political misunderstanding amongst different territories, and apparently the same barrier has hindered globalization for over 5 decades now. But the good thing is that citizens from different countries are now exiting from their racial, tribal, religious, and political cocoons and embracing humanity. Many people are continuously realizing the great potential that lies in pulling together as people instead of antagonizing each other for imaginary conflicts. This trend has really helped both globalization and tourism. Negative impacts due to global tourism. The negative environmental impacts of tourism are substantial. They include the depletion of local natural resources as well as pollution and waste problems. Tourism puts enormous stress on local land use and can lead to soil erosion, increased pollution, natural habitat loss, and more pressure on endangered species. These effects can gradually destroy the environmental resources on which tourism itself depends. Tourism development in the coastal environment has interfaced with the original characteristic of the area upon which it relied for attracting tourists and overall. Review of tourism. Research on the environment shows that nations do not give priority to environmental sustainability and disregard it to be benefit of economic development. Rapid and uncontrolled tourism development in the coastal zones have exposed their fragile ecosystems to an ever-increasing risk of environmental degradation. Tourism has also impacted on global tourism through excessive energy use, transportation, water consumption, waste generation, etc. The impacts of tourism have been sorted into four general categories with more elaboration on the impacts of 3S tourism on coastal areas, followed by a few facts about the negative impacts of tourism in different countries. The author presents a general framework for tourism impact assessment in coastal environments. The article ends with some suggestion in the hope of effective transition towards sustainable tourism.
Benefits of globalization in terms of tourism and hospitality. Globalization has created easier and more affordable ways to travel. This means that tourists can now choose from a wide range of destinations, leaving behind developing countries that may not have infrastructure or technology needed to welcome many visitors, and brought about include increased market for service, facilitated diversification of hotels to different countries, and the diffusion of culture. When operating across the borders, hotels face some barriers to trade that include political rivalry, cultural differences, and lacking of financing. Globalization and tourism are very dependent on each other. Today, thanks to globalization, people from across the world can easily exchange ideas and values, whether they are political, environmental, technological, cultural, or economic settings. This exchange has enabled the circulation of massive knowledge amongst the people of the world. People now understand each other better regardless of language, religion, or culture differences, and this have boosted tourism in a huge way and one of the greatest barriers to growth of the global tourism industry.
Environmental aspects of tourism are substantial. They include the depletion of the local natural resources, as well as pollution and waste problems. Tourism puts enormous stress on local land use. It and can lead to soil erosion, increased pollution, natural habitat loss, and more pressure on endangered species. Environmental aspect is an element of an organization, activities, products, and services that interact with the environment. These can include discharge to water, emission to air, waste and use of natural resources and materials, and tourism development generates income that often makes it possible to protect and preserve the natural resources like ocean, lakes, natural parks, and other scenic areas of beauty of the host communities. Improvement in waste management and appearance of the sites and community, increasing environmental awareness and prevention of further ecological decline. Some of the negative environmental impacts of tourism are as follows: increase in water and energy consumption, increase in pollution, air, water, noise, destruction of flora and fauna, deforestation, increase in solid waste, disruption of wild behavior and feeding and breeding patterns, crowding and congestion, impact of aesthetic appeal of destination and disturbing ecosystem.
Political aspect. Political environment is the government actions which affect the operations of a company or business. These actions may be on the local, regional, national, or international levels. Business owners and managers pay close attention to the political environment to gauge how government actions will affect their company. Regarding the Economic Forum's Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, it seems that the new modes are emerging. The enabling policy environment for tourism indicator shows that countries with more favorable environmental conditions are more likely to develop management plans for each World Heritage site, either existing or out of date. And it's more likely that there is no plan or claim prepared by those states. Technological aspects. Recognition technology is one of the most important emerging tech trends in general, but its potential uses in the hospitality industry are especially interesting. biometrics is being used to usher in a new age of seamless authentications, and this could benefit hotel processes and customers' purchases. Technology is used to provide less personalized service and at the same time to generate additional revenue at hotels, on airplanes, and at transportation hubs. Despite the misuse of technology, tourism and travel are highly dependent on technology, and its use has made life a whole lot easier. There is no doubt that the cell phone has become a major part of our lives, and although technology etiquette may lag technology machinery, the inconvenience of someone speaking too loud on a cell phone is more than outweighed by the safety, security, and convenience that cell phones bring most of us.